going on, people? It's the Xbot 448, and today I want to tackle that huge topic called exclusives. And it's exclusives in terms of the console war. You know, this entire generation, these Sony extremists out here, you know, these stables, man, they've been telling everybody that, you know, PlayStation has more exclusives than Xbox, and I figured let's dive deep into this whole thing. Now, when they start talking about exclusives, I hear games like Persona 5 at one point in time, you know, One Piece at another point in time, Attack on Titan. Then you have King of Fighters, Nioh, and the late Guardian, the very late Guardian, the last Guardian. You see what I did there? But so when talking about these games, like talking about these exclusives, these ponies hold these games in such high regard when they're talking about them before release and everything like that. But then when these games are released, they do absolutely shitty in terms of sales. And you have to ask yourself, like, if these guys are saying these games are so great, how come they're not, like, flying off the shelves? How come they're not selling in the millions and stuff like that? And, you know, they'll say, well, you know, it's a niche game, you know, it's got a cult following and stuff like that. And alright, but you're touting it as like the greatest game ever. And then when you look at it, games like One Piece and Attack on Titan are now going to the X1 because, you know, their sales didn't do great on Sony's platform. Now, when you look into this, if these are such great games, right, and you know, you have these extremists talking about them all the time, what's going on with Sony? Why doesn't Sony have faith in these games? And you could be asking yourself, well, Xbox, what are you talking about? Sony has faith in the games, they put them on the platform and stuff like that. Here's the deal. Sony seems to love multiplats this generation. Yes, you know, they talk about the Uncharted's, the God of Wars and stuff like that. When they saw that Bloodborne was a success, they talked about that more and they pushed that more. It seems like these games have to be a success before Sony promotes them instead of the opposite way around. Now, look through Sony's promotions, alright? Look at their commercials and everything like that. What do you see? You see Destiny, you see Call of Duty, right? Headliners right there, like multiplats as headliners, and of course they got marketing deals on both. Then they'll show the Uncharted and stuff like that. When was the last time you saw a Sony commercial that had One Piece on it, or King of Fighters, or Nioh, or you know what I'm saying? Every once in a while, The Last Guardian, they talk about that a little bit more. I mean, they've had enough time to talk about it. It's been like, what, 8 years that game's been quote-unquote in development. But do you see what I'm saying? Sony doesn't care about these games to promote them. So why are the stables like backing them up like they are the second coming of Christ in the video game industry? And then when they're saying all that, when the game does release, they sell like shit to a point where they end up on Xbox anyway. So guys, where is your argument? What are you talking about with these quote-unquote exclusives? And if you love these games so much, why aren't, you know, these pro Sony people, why aren't you buying the games? Why aren't the games as successful as you think they should be? It's weird. When you look at Microsoft's side, you know when ReCore is coming out. We actually got on Microsoft's case as an Xbox community. We got on Microsoft's case that they didn't promote ReCore more. They did more of a social media type thing. You had Aaron Greenberg on Twitter talking about ReCore, stuff like that. You know Halo Wars 2, all right, and that's an RTS. Of course, it has the Halo franchise tag on it, but that's an RTS. You know, that's definitely what they call a niche game. It has a certain consumer base that goes out and gets these. But you know when that's coming out. You know there's a new Crackdown coming out. Like when games are coming out on Microsoft's platform, you know about it. Ori and the Blind Forest, they promoted that. And you know, Ori and the Blind Forest, ReCore, Sunset Overdrive, they're not first party exclusives. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of like second-party deal exclusives. So it's not even like it's because it's 343 or because it's Rare or, you know, those first-party development teams doing it. It's because it's coming out on this specific platform. And Sony doesn't seem to do any of that shit. To be honest with you, the most viewed commercial, the biggest commercial I've seen from Sony, in terms of how many times I've seen it, is about PlayStation View, which is another can of worms that we can open up when it comes to the stables, because the stables are like, you know, we don't care about like movies and entertainment, it's just about games, and Sony is putting their money behind this commercial that promotes basically their cable service. All right, now I'm not saying that's not a good deal. I do love like multi-entertainment devices and stuff like that. It's one of the reasons why I picked up the X1 at the beginning of this generation. So I do like that. But it's making these ponies out there look completely hypocritical. And it's kind of funny to watch, man. I can't lie. But you got Sony putting money down to do these commercials about their cable service and stuff like that. You don't see Sony doing commercials with, you know, the King of Fighters and the Nihon. Every once in a while, you got The Last Guardian. I'll give you that one. I believe that's a first-party title, though. But you don't see them promoting these games the way these ponies are promoting them, and it just seems like they don't care about them. I mean, and you have like information coming out that with the PlayStation VR, the developer from Battalion 1944, you know, is developing a multi-plat World War II first-person shooter, right? And you know, they've reached out to Xbox and they've reached out to Sony in terms of helping, you know, develop the game and stuff like that. And these developers have come out and said Sony is completely preoccupied with their PlayStation VR stuff, and they're not being so helpful in having this game come out on Sony's platform. Which is kind of funny because they say they're for the players, right? You think they would put some time to the side for those traditional games, you know, the games that don't require a headset and stuff like that, because they're for the gamers. But that doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, they'd rather promote their cable service, which I said, like, in and of itself, I have no problem with. I do like multi-entertainment devices. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I have a smartphone. It's just something that we're used to, you know, this day and age. And it was kind of funny back at the beginning of this generation when Microsoft was talking about multi-entertainment, like there was such a backlash. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to me. But hey ponies, stables, Sony extremists, what's going on with these exclusives, guys? What are you excited for? Do you think like Nihon, King of Fighters, do you think they're gonna sell in the millions? I want to know, because this is very intriguing and this is very interesting to me, and I am gonna watch this, all right, to see how many of these games that the ponies tout out there as being just incredible games, how many of them actually sell well. As usual, guys, this is the topic. If you like the topic, you like the gameplay, you know, definitely hit that thumbs up button for me. If you haven't subscribed yet, definitely subscribe. But as for now, this is the Xbot 448. And I am definitely signing off.